Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated. Don't mind what's going on there in the background. That's fine. Don't pay any attention to that. Much more importantly, finally, we spent the entire last episode trying to sway the Pope. I don't think it's worked, but he has seen sense. He has meditated on our request for a divorce for our brother from his adulterous wife. Now, when I say meditated, what I mean is he went off and bait the living daylights out of himself. Pope Ioannis is on the verge of death. He is, however, willing, probably in the state of delusion that he's gone into from blood loss, he is willing to grant that divorce, so we are going to immediately send the forms and hope that he gets them signed. So, in the aftermath of the dramatic battle that brought the last episode to an end, our forces continue to retreat northwards. We can see some mercenaries at the top of the screen. They are joining up with some levies that we have raised in the region, and they are going to sail across. Our Scottish allies are retreating northwards. Our two largest allies in this war, the Duchy of Aquitaine and Orleans, they are involved in another war, in another two wars. Two separate attempts to seize the Kingdom of Bohemia from Brittany. They are defending the King of Brittany. So they haven't deployed their forces to this war. They're still wandering around in Europe. Tuscany, I know Florence has some troops in here, but Tuscany has another 700 troops coming in. They're currently off the coast of Barcelona, so they still have the entire Iberian Peninsula to round. It might have been a better idea to have gotten some archers together. We saw in the last episode that our heavy infantry on our side were lit up red. They were getting out rock, paper, scissors by the skirmishers on the English and Swedish side, which were lit up dark green, indicating that they were getting an advantage from them. Our forces also went in piecemeal. I say that quite a lot. Our advance guard, the Irish forces, got in early. I think we ended up in a scenario where we had about 5,000, 6,000 troops against their 9,000, and just 1,000 men evaporated in the initial charge. And considering that we lost that battle by 180 men, that was a costly mistake. So we're going to let the game run on a bit. Try and regroup in the north of Wales. Try and get our mercenaries in. Lots of people been sent out for educations. There's a couple of marriage requests been sent out. We've sent out a request to the Duchess of Tuscany, or not Tuscany, but Thuringia, to organise a marriage between our daughter Dunla, whose husband and brother-in-law were killed in a single engagement in the last conflict. Their father is attached to one of these armies. So the poor man saw his only two sons killed in a single battle. But if we click on him, it says that he's in Clifford, which is this region here. There we are. And so yeah, we've sent out a request for her to marry the eldest son of the Duchess of Tuscany, of Thuringia. Look, it's just, Europe is just a place where I can get German men to help me with my wars. Speaking of marriage requests, I will send out one more. Here is our artificer, or our antiquarian, Kilina, our ex-wife's lover. Of course, our ex-wife died in the last episode, and we've gotten a tremendous amount of stress as a result of that. But his wife died as well at some stage. I've looked for women who have the lover's pox trait. Because again, like I said, I was going to say there's no point spreading the trait, but then again, if they have children. So here we have a high diplomacy figure. We will organise that marriage. Like I said, his previous wife died from complications due to a failed treatment, which is exactly how his lover died. How interesting. And just speaking very quickly about the stress that was caused as a result of our ex-wife's death and our lover's death, our health is poor. We are ailing due to that drinking binge that we have taken after we got that pop-up, so it was a very bad decision there in the last episode not to decrease some stress before starting this war. Right. We'd better continue on. He knows that he is in a bad way, and thankfully the Pope has responded quickly, granting a divorce. This is Murica's second divorce. Third time lucky, Murica, third time lucky. Granting a divorce on the grounds of adultery. Now that that divorce has been granted, I am summoning my brother back from Gwent. My intention was to revoke the county. The problem is the county is under siege. I don't want to revoke it and then be taken hostage. So we're going to have to leave her there a while. That is not what I wanted to do. That is not what I wanted to do. And our alliance has broken with her. There's that acceptance of the marriage between Killenna and some random courtier. And we have our alliance with Thuringia. They are not involved in any wars yet. And there you go, as our forces continue to retreat northward to regroup. Thuringia has agreed to enter. Our mercenaries are leaving Downpatrick. Scotland is still heading northwards. Our mercenaries have come across. They have joined up with the main Irish forces. Here we have a list of our commanders. Moel Brassel Conon, 28 commander advantage. We're going to take a bit of a risk. We're going to scroll down to Mayor Morgan. He's an organizer, so movement speed and retreat losses, which is actually the same as what Brassel Conon has. However, he is also a rough terrain expert, and pretty much the entire south of Wales, where we are heading for, is hills. So I would hope that we have advantage in hills and minimum battle roll in hills. So this mayor, this lowly mayor, is going to be given command of what is approaching 5,500 troops. We will pretty much just march them. Not that way, this way. We're going to be waiting for a while for England, or for Scotland to turn around. We'll march them to here, I think. Try and get the rest of the army to actually come in before we move any closer. And try and hit the Swedish army. I would like to try and get into battle against them first of all. And while we are moving southwards, just a quick look at the knights. We can see that with the loss of Hesso and his brother at the end of the last episode, we've been basically decimated down around the lower ranks of the knights. Cruhur, our son and heir Cruhur, the king of Connacht, has made it into the army. Pretty much at the very bottom. Only his brother-in-law, Onwin, is lower than him. So that could be a bit problematic. He seems to have gotten himself a weapon. What the hell is that he's actually wielding? What's that he's wielding? I can open his inventory. Oh god. Before we continue marching with the forces, we are going to make another attempt to sway, or we're going to begin an attempt to sway our son-in-law, Louis. There is our daughter, Tufla. His father was deposed as the king of Aquitaine by his brother, who has now had children. So it is no longer the scenario that Louis Senior will be restored to power. We're going to have to try and bring them back to the court, because this alliance into Aquitaine, it was important. But if you look at the forces, they are tiny. It's the duchy that has somehow seized most of Aquitaine and become a power more powerful than the actual king or the throne itself. They're doing bad. They're in a number of bad wars. They're defending as well for Bohemia. They're doing really bad in this war. What's this? Let's move on from that. So yeah, they're doing bad in these 2 wars for Bohemia, which is sucking in a lot of our allies. There is Thuringia, fair play to them. They've risen up, they're doing something. Tuscany, good job. Thanks for coming. 13,000 Irish troops make their way south. Our brother-in-law in Scotland is sending his army out to sea to bring it down faster. Here is Talthu, if I'm right. Nope, it's Bridget. Nick Dinertuck. Oh lord, why are we being asked to name this child? Serla. Serla, God help you. Tuscany, from what I can see, is swinging around. Okay, bye Tuscany. I was going to say Tuscany is swinging around in a bizarre direction. Our son, Cronon, has come of age. Is he going to put on a hat and go into the army? I hope he will, because we were actually training him as a tactician. Let's see. No. God damn it, Cronon. The Herald has gone out looking for more knights to die for, to fight for the Kingdom of Ireland. We're going to take our 6,100 men. We're going to at least send them in this direction and see if our allies will follow. We might end up lifting that siege indirectly. It looks like we are indeed going to. We've gotten in. The body of our army has gotten in against the English forces. Did they succeed with the siege? No, Ludmilla has been taken hostage. This is, of course, the wife of Elfnat. Her son is fighting in this battle, so we've managed to get in against the Swedish army early, which is exactly what I wanted. They are very quickly bringing in another 4,000 troops, however. They've gotten those in, and even though we have a numerical advantage, they have an advantage in terms of just better troops. My son and heir, Prince Cruhur, is a perceptive man. I've known this for a long time, but lately he has started to linger in my presence, smiling sweeter than usual, looking at me when he thinks I do not see him. I'm intrigued by him too. It is nothing besides son and heirly love, surely. I think we've spent too much time allying with people in the Iberian Peninsula. So we've gotten our 10,000 troops in. There's another 600 coming in, so we do have the numbers, but they do seem to have the strength. Ulgarg has most likely been killed in battle, one of our greatest knights. We are indeed going to turn this around. We've managed to lift the siege. He was slain in battle, Ulgarg. I was considering giving him Gwent. He was one of the names on the shortlist. He has been killed in battle. We could see there again that our heavy infantry had lit up red. Hooks are expiring on a lot of people. A lot of things going on. We have managed to turn around. Regain after the defeat that we suffered. And we're back to 0 war score. But we do have a bit of restructuring to do. And as you can see, knights are arriving. And already gaps are appearing in the army for them. With the siege of Gwent lifted, we will revoke the title from our prisoner, our brother's ex-wife. And we should now be in a position to ransom her out for 100. We absolutely will punish her with that ransom. I don't believe that this is our nephew. Considering all the shenanigans that she's been getting up to. If we look at the list of knights that we have, Brassel Conon has a county in Wales. Our Marshal, of course, is already from Wales. And like I said, the military council is pushing for more land and more rewards in this region. Here is Leon. He's married to Dovlemna, another of Leinchuk's children. I don't know at 32, is there still a chance that they'll get children? Because what I am going to do is I am going to grant him the Earldom of Gwent. No doubt as the divorce came true, the Pope would have told us, I will grant you this divorce, but you know what must be done. Here is Carlotta, the only remaining child of the Count of Cleve. And we can see that he is located somewhere in Wales, where both of his sons were slain in battle in our last defeat. We will organise a marriage. He will not accept, however, but like I said, we have sacrificed his 2 sons, and so it is only fitting that Murica, after his 2 previous disastrous marriages, we don't believe that he's had any sons of the House of Dál Fiatach from them, and he won't have a son of the House of Dál Fiatach from this marriage either. This count sacrificed his 2 sons, so we will sacrifice Murica to keep House Gladbach going. It wasn't as comprehensive a victory as I would have liked, but the main thing is that it was a victory, and it really does show you the ability of the Kingdom of Ireland with its alliances and its deep, deep pockets to absorb heavy defeats. So I think we lost about 3,000 men there in the last battle, and we're still able to field, after another 2,000, 13,000 troops. England and Sweden, on the other hand, are down now to about 6,800 men. They are retreating into England. They will be able to regroup some of those, and they do seem to have stronger knights and stronger forces to out rock, paper, scissors us, like I said before. Brassel Conan, 80 kills, leading the way for Ireland. Lots of high-ranking knights wounded, including Ishkamur. There's quadruple B. There's Laura, wounded again. Niels, second day on the job. Ulgarg, the poor man, was slain by Adric II. I don't know, have we seen him? I believe... Where am I after going to? I believe that's him there. He is the Divil, just 17 years of age. Probably his first day out in battle. He is a duke and heir to a ton of things. And he's after killing one of the highest ranking knights in the kingdom. Like I said, I think that was a substantial kill against the Icelandic forces in that major battle that we had against them. And he had a kill in our war in Tuscany. Had he 2 kills in that war? I actually have no idea when this other kill came in. That's in 1161, so that was probably actually in this engagement. So up until the recent, one of the great knights of the kingdom. There's Crahur. He's not doing too bad. He's actually done better than Phalamede, who, of course, in the midst of the battle, received news that his mother had been taken captive. This guy, one of the enemy knights, was killed by this guy, straight across from him. Our son-in-law is wounded, and then we're getting down into the realm of some of the Tuscan knights. Mother of God, how can you be putting swords into the hands of these lads? Like, what more could you be expecting with numbers like this? But there you go, we've turned things around. Hopefully we'll be able to siege down Fairlix and continue on, but it is indeed a heavy loss from the kingdom. Ulgarg to have been killed in battle. And at the same time, we are told that the former Countess of Gwent has paid us that ransom, as her husband leaves our court to take the place of the 2 slaughtered sons of the Count of Cleve. And hopefully, to keep that title going, we formed an alliance with our son. Probably for the best. To keep him from doing anything bold. I would hope that... Okay, our own forces are actually going to go back. Will any of them start sieging down areas here? No. And I think there to the south, victory is at hand. Tuscany has finally figured out how to get to Ireland and Orthacoin. It's just one of those days, Orthacoin. Orthacoin has drank himself to death. I was going to say, I don't know, is there any point in putting in Lord Rory? We'd probably call him Rory, or Rory. But then again, look at that. For diplomacy, here is Cruhaor, the son of Orthacoin. Orthacoin's father served us as Chancellor. Cruhaor looks like someday he'll be able to put together good numbers as a Chancellor. I think for now we will assign Rory. I don't think it will knock him out of any of the schemes against us. Wow. That's dropped from -100 to -8. So yeah. And it's his job to make himself like me. Get to work, Rory. And what news to receive, Laura. We saw him wounded in the last battle. Another of the Crusaders. He never got the Crusader trait, but Laura has died as a result of his wounds from that last battle. And so have we. High King Uí Néill of Ireland has found peace in Christ's embrace at 56 years of age. I've already seen the next sentence. He drank himself to death. A conscientious man, he was renowned for his excellent skills as a steward and an alcoholic. High King Cruhaor ascends to the throne. Seeing the agents of Satan around every corner, heretics and heathens alike should beware his rule. Oh God. When I started playing as High King Uí Néill, even coming to the end of his father's rule, I thought, this is going to be the greatest character that I will ever play as in a series. This is going to be victory after victory, upward trend, success after success. The game is going to become boring because this guy is going to be just such a great ruler. He definitely was something. What a career we saw with Uí Néill. I got to fight my first crusade, got to lose my first crusade, and then it was pretty much disaster after disaster. To a degree. I'm not too sure now. We're fighting this war. Oh, this is going to complicate things because now we're going to take this region and we can't really give it to Wales. Oh, this is going to complicate things. I don't want this region anymore. Drank himself to death at 56. He was the cultural head. He was dreaded. He was exalted among men. He was a paragon of virtue. We never got him up to religious icon. We were fairly close. He was going down the lifestyle intrigue tree. 18 wars, 5 offensive. Is that all? 12 defensive and 1 offensive Great Holy War. We can see the titles. So this indeed... Oh, this has indeed messed up a lot of things. Here is King Cronon of Wales, King of Wales, de Hybert, Powys, David, and that is the other, that's the county in Powys, I think. And of course, yeah, you got Scotland. I didn't intend for this to happen. And what have we got? We've managed to secure Ulster, and if we look at the lineage, he was a year younger than his father. He was a year younger than his father. In terms of devotion and prestige, the greatest High King ever, but dear God, look at that for a face. We're going to have to cover up all the pictures in the hallway. We can't be looking at a face like that. Continue as High King Crusader. So the first and most interesting thing about Crusader is that he is trying to murder members of his mother's family. Could it be because they're insular? I'm not too sure. We're going to end that hostile scheme. We're being told that as I continue the preparations, I am interrupted by a page. The knave has travelled afar and is now beyond my reach. She's gone to Crunmoel's court in... he's a Chancellor of Onia, so she's gone to Croatia. So Croatia is now becoming a refuge for Irish courtiers that are driven out by Crusader's satanic panic. Well, here is the Kingdom of Ireland. And here is the new king. He is zealous. He is paranoid and wrathful. Oh, what fun we are going to have. There is his son and heir, Muireadach, and Patrick. I don't know what we're going to do with him. The easiest thing to do, lifestyle, I've seen this already. He is going down the scholar route. We will keep him going down that direction. I think for now, yeah, we'll go with dev growth. Because this is really what I see his rule as being about, is improving the development of the counties in Ireland. There has been a total emptying out of the court because, of course, a tremendous amount of those rulers are now in Wales. So, Moel Brassel Conon. What adventures is he going to have? Had Amlíb survived, the intention was that Moel Brassel Conon would have pushed for a duchy. So I said in the last episode that I was going to give away a duchy. The intention was to secure all of Pow's, keep that for my two younger sons, Amlíb's two younger sons, give away all the land here, basically, have Moel Brassel Conon take, is this de Hybert, as a duke. And this would have been the kind of the core Dál Fiatach lands in Wales, and probably give out the county up here, and maybe even the entire duchy to somebody in this region. Things are complicated up here now. Let's try and appoint a court. So the appointments do look pretty straightforward. The Ivrian will be given a position on the council for the first time in a very long time. It actually now does just show you how much of a control the military had for the last while. Crusader, his father, drank himself to death there shortly before our father drank himself to death. So he does indeed now get that Chancellor position. And as for Marshal, it would be interesting to give it to Roncu, who is also actually a son of Orthcoin, but quadruple B, first of all, to deal with that minus 81. But quadruple B in Breffni, who is now technically under Crusader's rule. So I imagine what's after happening is that... how do you know if Breffni has actually become part of Connacht or not? I don't think it makes much of a difference. But of course, this is our core land, as is this, because when our mother died, we inherited land from her. So this is now one of the most powerful Irish High Kings in terms of his own personal possessions. Speaking of personal possessions, he's put on most of the stuff he's gotten from his father. We still have killing his sword, plus 4 prowess. As we don't need that, and as the Welsh Hammer gives us knight effectiveness, we are going to equip ourselves with that instead. It would be great if we could dual wield. And we will take our first visit to the royal court. I don't think we're going to hold a royal court just yet. For some reason, we have moved the Joe of St. Joseph away from the statue. So we'll put that back there. And I meant to do this, was to equip Pangur Dov's jewellery casket. 0.3 piety per month and a court grandeur bonus, so that'll keep us, like I said, hovering back and forth between level 7 and level 8. We're not going to hold a royal court just yet. We're gonna hold off on it, and we're gonna come back. I'm just trying to figure out who the hell is this. Quirkta Mock Kosrach. He's a guest. So this has now turned into a very costly war that we have absolutely no reason to be fighting. Because I don't want this county. It's not going to be of much good to us. It's entirely possible that we're going to siege down this area, possibly march on the capital, try to seize one of the copies of the Excalibur, and then white peace. Because this county is of no use to me. I don't know if Crusader is of the mindset where he would go to war with his brother for the Kingdom of Wales. But for now, we'll play out the war for another short while. We're losing 10 gold per month, which is a massive amount of money to be spending on a war that is of no benefit to us. I've also had to try and start restructuring some of the alliances, because of course they've all collapsed. So we're trying to negotiate with predominantly with our sister's family, or our sister's families, to re-establish those alliances. God damn it, in the end up it was the wife that killed us. It was that stress that we got from our ex-wife dying. And if only we had burned this region to the ground and got that stress debuff. Well, there you go. Crusader would have burned it. I have a feeling that this is an indication of how our rule is going to start out. This is the first major court event that we have. I shouldn't have said major court event. A flock of robed men burst into the throne room, hectically searching the floor and uprooting everything. High King Crusader, we are the followers of Farkelach the Headless. You know how this story goes. Here is a lustful, lunatic dwarf. Lustful, dwarven, lunatic genius? This is a very interesting man. Join our court? Absolutely. I want this man to join our court. We're going to lose 20 opinion with the bishop. I think it's at 8 at the moment. He will stop endorsing us. And we will spend 6 court grandeur. Absolutely. Search away. Well, that's not good. Our marshal has created a liberty faction against us. We're seeing another 314 troops coming in from the north of Brittany. I was taking a look down through the list of knights, and I saw our new courtier, Mincon Ní Roden. Now, recently I put up a poll about whether or not Thorlach should be added to Crusader Kings 3 as the King of Munster in the 1066 start, as he was historically. And one of the options was yes, one of the options was no, and one of the options was I don't care, I just want to inbreed my dwarf court. I clicked to find a marriage for Mincon, and the most relevant character was a courtier in Vizcaya, who we've had or from the House of Viscaya. We've had problems out that into the world. They are also a dwarf. She has the comely trait. He has the genius trait. Go on. Go on. So here's our list of knights. We got a pop-up that we have very, very few of them. Well, we have a lot of them, but they're no good. We're down to 12. That's not the worst. Other than quadruple B, I think we have lost every single one of our Crusader knights. Here's Niels Gullion, who I hired. I think he was the last knight to be hired by our father. We have lots of new people that I am not entirely sure who they are. And here is Kilina, our mother's antiquarian, and also our father's antiquarian for a while. It's a strange court. That marriage has been accepted, and we are seeing 1700. We're seeing 9,000 troops arrive just as we are told. A number of different things. First of all, that somebody is a non-believer. I have sent our father sent our spy master to Brittany to find secrets. But we are also told that after baiting the living daylights out of himself, Pope Ionis has died from his wounds. May he rest in peace. And may long life be given to Pope Sylvester IV, the new Pope, another Anglo-Saxon. They're all Anglo-Saxons. Why is this game just continuously generating Anglo-Saxon popes? Croatia has been decreasing in size over the last while. It's gotten a chunk cut off of it. Lost that war for Bosnia, I believe. So who knows how long a Dál Fiatach reign will continue out here. And actually the other interesting thing is, now that we have lost Wales, Tuscany is too far away from us to contact. So we can't organize any alliances with our sister's father-in-law. Here is Federigo, and there is our sister, and they've had a child who is currently in line to succeed as the Duchess, I suppose. There's her father, who is in Herefordshire, commanding the armies in the territory of Duchess Lucy the Clumsy, who of course was the Duchess of Mercia, if I am correct, is still the Duchess of Mercia, who led those two wars, or who led at least one war against us, and the King of England led another war against our father. All those years ago. To go back to those days again. Thankfully, the English forces aren't moving in against us. That's the... Should I take back that statement? Yes. We are rapidly gonna have to try and get everyone down here. Somebody is encouraging us to adopt Norwegian culture. The Norwegians are good people. Go way out of that. Irish are of superior moral fibre. We've gotten 12 quid. I think that's all that we're going to come out of this entire conflict with. We're trying to get forces in. I'm no longer sure if this is a good idea. I don't think it was. Look at these for massive numbers, and they still have a huge advantage. Leon of Gwent has died under mysterious circumstances. Damn it all to hell. And I think with this defeat, a bad start to the reign of Cruhur. I think we're just going to try and white peace out of this. Now is not great timing. With 14 men left on the field, Arthur wants to give us stuff. Thanks, Arthur. Good man. Court grandeur has dropped, and look at that. 8,000 men being driven from the field by just 1,000. This is indeed a bad start. Dear God, 7,000 men killed in that battle. Do you remember when I was saying that we could just sit back and whittle away at the English troops. 7,000! Where is Moel Brassel Conon? Where is Leon? Look at these for absolutely insane numbers coming in on the English and Swedish side. I have now summoned Wales into the war. I hadn't bothered. But yeah, Wales had actually left the war with about 1,100 troops, and of course all of the great knights of the kingdom. There is Phalamede, he's been captured by the King of Sweden. I was going to say there was no actual losses on our side. Adric. This war is making a hero out of Adric. That is his second confirmed kill. Of course, yeah, we're pretty much now reliant on Tuscany. No offense to Tuscany, but I mean, come on. Tuscany. The other fantastic thing is that because we don't control any territory in Wales, we are retreating all the ways back to Ireland. The English will not accept a white peace. We have our Archbishop, who we are also trying to... We're not trying to sway him at the moment. I'm trying to sway the Spymaster to keep them on side. 300 learning lifestyle, or we could give him money. Or we could lose some stress. How are we for stress? We're not the worst. I don't know if I want to be giving this man a weak hook. We are paranoid. I have just spent some money on mercenaries, and do you know what? We'll spend more money on mercenaries. Those weren't mercenaries, those were glasses. Our brother has entered the war. Thanks, Cronon. We can improve our scholarly lifestyle perks, or we can get our first one since we have started playing as Crahur. We'll take learning per level of devotion. Open-minded isn't going to be great. We can learn additional languages. Different faith opinion, not going to be great. Learn on the job. It's not until we get to here, really, that we're going to see the good ones. A big problem is that the bulk of the English army is going in against our allies. I don't know. Yeah, they're not going to be able to retreat off of Wales, so we're going to be in a bit of a scenario because we're, like I said, we're retreating all the ways back to Ireland. Our allies are going to get stack wiped, basically. This is not good. Court grandeur has fallen to 6, the lowest it has fallen to in a very long time. Thankfully, our allies have indeed actually made it ahead. England has stopped to siege back Ferlix. Our forces are heading for Downpatrick. Our spymaster has discovered that the Countess, since her husband was taken prisoner by the King of Sweden, is after taking a lover. I don't think we are actually in a position to use to bribe people for hooks anymore, so I might actually call the spymaster back. Dovdeal is no longer our physician. I was about to say I don't know if our allies have done something stupid. They have indeed. Our nephew, the King of Brittany, has been killed. Oh, there's so many things happening. Like I said, our allies have indeed done something very, very stupid. They have gone in against the... They have allowed themselves to basically be hit by the English. I don't know if there's a point in us sending in our forces with that disembark penalty in place. Quadruple B is our leader at the moment. We pretty much have to try and send them in to save the army. Wales is also coming in with its depleted forces. We've sent in everything that we have. This is an utter disaster. Our allies... I'm blaming our allies for that. Still reeling and driven mad from the loss of his 2 sons, the Count of Cleve gave battle effectively to the English. They were going out to sea. I tried to bring my forces around to the south of Wales to lead them in that direction. Instead, they decided to then plant themselves right beside the English forces pretty much the Swedish forces, because it's Sweden that's causing most of the trouble. So they engaged with them. He has been captured. He is now on the verge of death. So his daughter, our aunt, looks like she's going to succeed as the new Countess of Cleve. Our forces got in way too late with that disembarkation penalty. We have seen Arthur, our steward, captured, Killina, wounded and captured. That was an absolute catastrophe. And we have had no alternative. They won't accept a white peace. There's no point accepting a white peace at 51%. If we surrender, we're losing 410 gold. We have had no alternative but to call in the big guns. I barely even know what their names are, but our two sons have been married out to daughters of the Duke of Upper Lorraine and the King of France, with his 10,000 troops. And they have both accepted invites to war. 15,000 men will hopefully shortly set sail for England to assist in getting Ireland out of this hole that Amlib has dug at the bottom of a bottle of beer. If Amlib could have just stopped drinking for 5 minutes, it was the death of his lover, the death of his ex-wife, that basically turned this entire battle. This would have been his crowning achievement, solidifying the borders of Wales. Instead, he has dumped massive problems onto both of his sons. Wales, like I said, we're not going to be in a position to actually seize this area for Wales. We don't really want it. So Wales's borders will remain uncompleted. England will continue to covet the remaining region that it doesn't have. Basically, Amlib's ill health and early death has created a confused succession in the midst of a war. If we had gotten one more battle, if we had even managed to just seize Firlix and march on the capital of England itself. But this battle has turned, and it has turned badly. Thousands of men are dead in the aftermath of Amlib's drinking binge. And who knows? But in the next episode, we might get to see thousands more die. Thank you for joining me on this one, and I hope that you will return to see if we can dig ourselves, or at least if the French can dig us out of this problem that has been made for us.